Ahoy, shipmates! Popped down to Southampton International Boat Show last year. Wide variety of things there, absolutely, all the way from very small, inexpensive little yachts here. A great range of flags, and I think some of the other shipmates might have been to this store before purchasing flags. I have a lot of flags on the channel. I think this one was my favourite one. Look at this boat here. I could even carry the Iron Horse on with me. Well, now that is something to think about. You've got super yachts, and in the background there's a container ship. So rather interesting at the boat show, there are a number of vessels you can take a trip on. This one is Foxtrot 8, a landing vessel built in 1964 to 1965 in Poole. She saw 19 years of active service and is best known for a contribution during the 1982 Falklands War. She also had service in the Nigerian Civil War, Northern Ireland, Cyprus, Grenada, Lebanon, and as well in the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977. Also on display was the Torpedo boat 4R, which is a replica of a World War I torpedo boat, recently completed and housed at the Portsmouth Historic Dockyard. Absolutely wonderful looking vessel, all wood construction, and even if you look in the back there is actually a torpedo on board. More affectionately referred to as the Spitfire of the seas. There are also some modern-day naval vessels here as well. But for a small charge, it was possible to take one of these ships out and have a little ride along. So I took up that opportunity and went for a ride on motor gunboat 81. Motor gunboat 81 was designed and produced by the British Powerboat Company in collaboration with the Admiralty. And in all, 105 of her type were built, including some of which were completed as motor torpedo boats. Motor gunboat 81 had a chine hull form using double diagonal mahogany sides and a triple diagonal mahogany bottom. Although ordered on the 27th of November 1940, motor gunboat 81 was not laid down until 16th December 1941. She was launched on the 26th of June 1942 and was then virtually. During sea trials on the 8th of July, she achieved a speed of 38.63 knots on Southampton water. And I can tell you, by today's standards, that's still a very fast boat. She was accepted and commissioned on the 11th of July 1942 and then worked up at HMSB, the Coastal Forces Base at Weymouth, before joining the 8th Motor Gunboat Flotilla at Dartmouth in August 1942. Between then and September 1943, Motor Gunboat 81 was involved in 6 actions. Off Guernsey on the night of the 13th and 14th of August 1942, she engaged in a close-range gun attack on the enemy armed trawlers, with one trawler severely damaged. Next month, the flotilla moved to Felixstowe, and Motor Gunboat 81 was soon in action off the Hook of Holland on the 14th and 15th of September, when 2 enemy motor vessels were damaged by gunfire and 4 armed trawlers were hit with no damage to the motor gunboat. In action off Holland on the 2nd and 3rd of October, 4 enemy armed trawlers were engaged and one of the flotilla, motor gunboat 78, was lost. On the 27th and 28th of February 1943, the motor gunboats fought the escorts of the German convoy off the Hook of Holland, resulting in the sinking of motor gunboat 79 and damage to motor gunboat 81 caused by a shell hitting the engine room. In April 1943, the flotilla returned to Dartmouth, though motor gunboat 81 was refitted at Brightlingsea from the 29th of April to the 20th of May. In June 1943, she was damaged in a collision with motor gunboat 115 and was repaired by the British Powerboat Company in Poole. On the 11th and 12th of September, she again sustained damage when fired on by shore batteries at Cap La Hague and spent the rest of the month being repaired at British Powerboats Poole Yard. In September 1943, the boat was renumbered Motorboat 416, and her designated armament was increased to reflect her new role with the addition of 2 18-inch torpedo tubes. Even though they were given the Motor Torpedo Boat MTB classification, some of the former motor gunboats did not ship torpedo tubes, so it is uncertain that Motorboat 416 was so fitted. Her flotilla became the first motor torpedo boat flotilla and redeployed to Ramsgate for for a short period in October of 1943 before returning to Dartmouth. Motorboat 416 was refitted at the Poole Powerboat Company between 5th of January and 2nd of March in 1944. Her first recorded action as a motor torpedo boat was in Lyme Bay on the 21st to the 22nd of April, when she engaged in German E-boats and sustained action and damage. Repairs were again made at Poole, but she was back in action for Normandy landings, where she was involved from the 6th to the 3rd of June 1944, with Gosport as her base. On the night of the 23rd to 24th of June, she was involved in an attack on a German convoy leaving Cherbourg. Although MGB 416 was only backing up this operation, one of her crew was killed. On the night of the 18th and 19th of July, she obtained hits on the German R-boats off Cap Antifa, but a hull was damaged by gunfire and she returned to Poole again for repairs. In September 1944, the flotilla's base changed to Lowestoft, and her next action was on the 14th of February 1945 at Ostend. With the war in its final days, she returned to Poole and was placed on reserve, and in 1945 was approved for disposal and later sold. Little is known of her subsequent history until 1958, when she was arrested by customs officers at Shoreham whilst on a smuggling operation. She was sold on for use as sailing school accommodation ship at Hardy Gosport and named Jolly Roger. In 1964, she was sold to become the houseboat Cresta, also at Hardway. In 1984, she was towed to Basildon on the Hamble River, and in 1988 was bought by Guy Webster to restore her to her wartime appearance. On the 17th of September 1998, she was bought by Philip Cladburn and was reconstructed by the British Military Powerboat Trust Marchwood site between 1999 and 2002. Petrol engines were thought to have been prohibitively expensive to run, so the 3,000 brake horsepower V12 MAN turbocharged diesel engines were fitted, giving an estimated top speed of 45 knots. Well, hope you enjoyed that one, shipmates, and I found myself a bar on the top of a tall ship right at the end of the boat show. Till next time.
Because that single episode, which is based just on the venue, where they are just asleep in the snow, and there's not a lot happening. Yeah, there's not a lot happening.